Hey everyone, just something real quick before we start the episode. We're finally available on Amazon Music and on Audible. If you're getting rid of Spotify or you want another way to listen, just know that we're pretty much everywhere. So find us wherever you can. Thanks. Hey, you're listening to another episode of Tu Tia Bruja. I am Bex Carlos and I'm your host. So, for today's episode, okay, I talk about St. Louis all the time. I'm from here. And one of the things that I love and hate about this town is that everyone knows everyone. I've been podcasting here for like 3 years. I was just editing stuff, I was just editing podcasts and meeting other people. And I met a friend who introduced me to CEO Haize, is what I know him as, but a lot of people know him as Cordero Johnson. So, CEO Haize came on the show because he posted something, about love that I just thought was really interesting. And I think that one of the real horrors of life sometimes is that we as individuals perpetuate cycles that can be very hurtful in regards to relationships and stuff. Sometimes like a big part of healing yourself is doing the work, taking the time to be alone. I'm going to stop talking. We're going to listen to the episode. On the show, I have another St. Louisan who has luckily gotten out. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, anytime. Looking forward to it.
I think the cool thing about St. Louis is that you just meet so many different types of people and everybody like knows everybody for better, for worse. And I kind of love that about this town. So, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself and letting us know a little bit about you?
Yeah, definitely. My name is Haize, aka CJ. Just depending on where you met me at, you may call me something different. I grew up in Italy and Germany. At 16, we moved to St. Louis. I was in St. Louis then for 14 years after that. And then I now reside in Columbus, Ohio. I'm a podcaster, a photographer, videographer, a filmmaker, something that I'm adding to my title this year because I'm making short films. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I'm a father. Father's the most important thing before all of that because my kids are my world. But yeah, I'm just interested and laid back guy, I guess.
Yeah, you're definitely a creative type. You've got a lot of stuff going on. And I'm always fascinating with people like that because I myself am like that. And I just feel like they're the ones that you should, one, keep up with, and two, just get the chance to like talk to. I've followed you on all your different platforms, and you posted something the other day that like really resonated with me. And I was like, oh shit, this is something we need to talk about. So thank you for that, because I've been running out of some ideas of what I want to do for this season. Because, Halloween season, a real life horror that I feel like people don't deal with is the fact that people can be a little codependent. You know what I mean? And I think that when they date, they kind of wish that person's going to come and save them.
hmm
But I want to say this specific thing that you said. It was sometimes you have to want therapy more than you desire to find a partner. Y'all be thinking somebody's going to come and love you hard enough that it's going to fix your trauma, and that ain't life. And I'm like, oh shit.
Oh man. Yeah, that's one of those just from the mind of Hayes tweets. It was literally just something on my mind. Nothing triggered it per se. It was just a thought that was on my mind that I think pretty often, like seeing the way that people converse and talk about relationships, especially on social media. I'm just like, y'all just wow. Like you said, it's like that savior complex that people have. Like somebody's just gonna come along and fix them, and that's not the way it works.
No, so true. And I think a big reason that people think that is we're all products of Disney. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm
ask most people, unless they're just really, I don't even know how to say it, like they just really have to hate everything that most people like. There's at least one Disney film that you like. And even still, in a lot of the older ones, there was a lot of like codependency and finding that person that, like, the world is over because it's like you found them. And I think that puts a lot of terrible ideas about love and just like relationships, because one, I think that you could meet someone and like the feeling's electric and you just think that they're the coolest person. But it could also be that something in your body is straight up like, whoa, like take a step back. You just might be like, this is wrong for me. But you don't interpret it that way. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I agree. I agree with that. I think not just even just Disney, like just the way that it's depicted in like most TV shows and film, like we don't get real true to life depictions of love. And then we grow up like we that's kind of imprinted on us, and then we grow up thinking that's the way that it works. And then we grow up and realize we're all imperfect people with our own separate traumas, with our own separate damages from not even necessarily just relationships, but life. We think that it's just like people can love us through it. And while people can love you through and should love you through the stuff that you're going on, until you do the work yourself, the shadow work, whatever else to fix and get past some of the stuff that you've gone through in life, you're always going to hit that same wall.
Yes, 100%. I'm the biggest believer in shadow work because I think once you kind of start to find things that you're like, "Ooh, that's not great." And you live in that uncomfortableness is when you can really come to terms with who you are 100%, because I think at the end of the day, if you don't know your shadow, if you don't know your dark side, and everyone has one, everybody has dark in them. But if you're not in touch with that and you're living a fantasy that it doesn't exist, that is always going to overpower you and it's always going to limit your potential. Because at the end of the day, it's about accepting every part of you 100% and like allowing for some of the shame and negativity that you have attributed with that. I feel like letting that go is going to allow for so much abundance and joy and prosperity. And it's like, don't we all want that? We deserve that.
Yeah, for sure.
We should all want that. Taking a quick pause from the episode, Halloween is getting real close. It's pretty much getting to that point where if you are trying to do some really cool blue moon, Halloween, full moon rituals, come on, BB, you have to order your stuff immediately. You know, the online botanica I'm always going to recommend is Temperance Home and Bar. I love Melissa. I love the products that she makes. I just received this Medusa compact that she personalized for me just because I've have a lot of people, that don't like the things that I say. It's nice to have the resources and the magic to really just make sure that I am protected. And I really want you to be able to have, similar resources if you need them. Definitely reach out to Melissa at Temperance Home and Bar. She's going to help you with whatever rituals or magic you're trying to accomplish in your life. Let's get back into the episode. I also think it's important to realize that we can't save anybody until we can save ourselves. And I think that a lot of people date because like they can just have that escapism and throw all their energy into someone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think we like generally I don't think we date healthy, and like I said, some of us do, some of us don't. But I think when we stop feeling like these relationships are the thing that we're missing and that it's going to somehow complete us, we need to come into the relationship as two complete people, and then we're that much stronger. Whereas if we're coming in with as two incomplete people, then how can you build something you're building something that's on faulty ground from the get-go when you do that? And that's why being single needs to be more normalized, because I think like we just move from relationship to relationship to relationship, and when you don't take that time to really evaluate why your relationships went wrong but also grow and heal from them, you get into it. And how many people do you see say like all these women are the same, all these dudes are the same, when really it's like you have a part to play in that as well. You have a part to play in why all your relationships end up the same way, because you're not taking the time out to learn from the mistakes of the first one. And so you're destined to continue making those same mistakes until you really take time out and evaluate your place in those mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's such an important thing for everyone to realize. I just turned 30. And it's funny because, like, because I'm so into, witchy
hmm
things, I really think that mentioning a Saturn's return is really important. Are you familiar with that?
I I am not.
Okay, so Saturn's return is we were talking about natal charts pre the recording, but in your natal chart, it takes 29.5 years for it to be back to that point when your Saturn return happened. So when that happens, so it's like right before you turn 30, you start to feel like you're disconnecting from a lot of things that no longer serve you. At least a lot of people. I can't say that's everybody, but you start to like really feel like things need to wrap up, chapters need to end, maybe cycles need to end if you feel like you're kind of in that pattern. And I feel like I experienced that. Well, one, I was in Mexico right before I hit it, and then I like came back and it was like boom, and it was just the realization of like I got a lot of things to think about in my life, because I think that sometimes we take things for granted. And so I don't know, it was really useful for me, and I think that I've become more of a hermit and I'm getting a lot more comfortable with like kicking it by myself.
Mhm.
And before that return, I didn't have that.
That's good that you came to that realization that you took that time because like very similar to you, I was married. I was with my basically my high school sweetheart. We met when we were 16 and we were together basically until I was 30. And then after that, like learning to like re still be a father but being single and kind of getting back out there in the world, I took the time out to really think about what I wanted. I had identified myself as just the husband and father so long that I didn't really think about what Cordero, that which is my real name, the person wanted and needed. And it's funny that ever since I took that time to learn that, that's I got into podcasting, I got into photography, which then grew into like it was a pastime and it's grown into like a whole secondary income and things for me. But I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, but I wouldn't have gotten to this place if I really didn't take that time out to, like you said, go through those cycles, cut out certain things and habits and stuff that I just got into the habit of doing because it's what I thought I should be doing. And I didn't think about what I wanted to do or what I needed. And so that time has made now my 30s be such a time of clarity for me and purpose on top of that. Like I really feel like I'm moving within my purpose now, really for the first time in my life.
I'm right there with you 100%. And that return hit, COVID happened immediately after, and I was locked in my apartment. We were all, under the circumstances we were under. And I had just not had the opportunity to really create like I wanted to in a long time because I was not running on empty, but I feel like I wasn't creating for myself anymore. I think everything came with time. And, I was able to create this podcast that has been so healing for me and so many other people. And it's like having meaningful conversations about this that really help people focus on the inward, because I think so much we focus on like how we look and we focus on like all these things and like yeah, the outer stuff is great or whatever, but it's really the inner stuff that's going to make you so much happier with the outer. We really have to come to terms with it.
That's a fact. That's 100% fact.
What are your thoughts on tarot?
Okay, so I have never gotten a tarot reading before. I my mom like lives and dies by it. Let me not say lives and dies, but she's gone a few times. But I believe in the power of it. It's just nothing that I've necessarily dabbled in myself before.
Okay. Well, it's kind of a thing. I'm gonna start shuffling. Close your eyes for a second. Focus on your breath. Just breathe in as deeply as you can and just breathe out as deeply as you can. Just take like 20 to 30 seconds to just, repeatedly work on that. Keep focusing. And I'm going to keep shuffling. Whenever you feel like you're ready, just let me know and I'm going to pull the first one from the top.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Cool. So we got the Queen of Wands reversed. Oh, okay. So this is kind of funny because it's appropriate to like what we were talking about, I think. So with this card, I think that you've been able to really establish like who you are as a person, your boundaries, your self-respect, which I think is something that a lot of like individuals struggle with, and I think that that's why we also like tend to settle for bad relationships, I think. So it's really wonderful that you've taken the time to focus on yourself, because I think that being able to kind of work internally really allows you to one find, like you said, things that like fulfill you and make you happy and align with your purpose. And I feel like people who focus on that are just so much happier overall, because it's like you don't have to worry and be bothered by people who are miserable, you know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting because I was like, that really resonates. So good for you. I'm glad that you're in a place where you're really just happy with everything around you, because I mean, don't we all have good and bad days, but overall it's like feeling 100% in your power and your purpose is just the most important.
That is a fact.
Well, Hayes, thank you so much for being on the show. This was such a pleasure. Where can everyone find you, support you, and keep up with you?
You can follow me at CEO Haize. That's CEOHAIZE. You can follow my podcast at Awaken Soul Pod. You can also go to the breaksmedianetwork.com, which is the media company that I own, where it's home to my podcast and a lot of other great podcasts from the culture. Yeah, that's where you can check me out at.
Yeah, for sure. And I will include all of those links in the show notes so that everyone can find you. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again for being on the show. And I hope you just have a very amazing and witchy rest of your day.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
All right, so that was the episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. All the links to support CEO Haize are in the show notes. And again, remember, you can check us out pretty much everywhere podcasts are. We have a Patreon now. So if you would like to support, please be sure and, check out the show notes. The links on how to do that are there. Let us hope that we all are able to accomplish the dreams that we have. Again, thank you for supporting me, and I'll be chatting with you tomorrow. Bye.
Yeah.